Alright.
Actually, will this bother your arms or anything? I don't think it will. Alright, so first, I have 3 little expectations for what I'm teaching today. So, do you know what the expectation is? Yeah, exactly. It's what I expect y'all to do. So, I put them right up here so y'all can see them. So, if you can read the first one, it's kind of small. This one. Pay attention as I teach. So that just means I need y'all to like look at me and not be like talking to each other and messing with things. Just so you'll be able to learn as much as possible during my lesson. So what's the second one? Raise your hand and speak. Just so since there's 6 of y'all, just so we don't all speak at the same time. If you want to answer a question, just raise your hand and I'll call them out. And then what's my last one? Participate. Because we're gonna have lots of fun, but y'all have to participate so that we're all in the lesson together. Okay. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give y'all. This can be one group and that can be the other, and I'm just gonna give y'all a bag, and I want y'all to take everything out of the bag and then try to categorize them. Make like one pile for the items that are important to have at school, and then another pile for items that aren't important to have at school. Does that make sense? Okay. So y'all can have this bag. So just make 2 piles and figure out which items are important to have at school and which ones aren't.
Yes.
Did y'all think this is important or not? Not important. Yeah. What about these? No, I don't think so either because you're inside. You don't need sunglasses. Is this your which pile is this? This one's the red pile.
Oh.
You don't think you need sunglasses? No, I don't think so. Did y'all get everything sorted? Okay, yeah, y'all's piles look pretty good. So why don't y'all tell the girls what's in your piles?
Alright, get an umbrella. It might be raining. Not inside, but
You think it's not important? It's a whole bunch. Yeah.
And
A highlighter, yeah, and a pencil pouch.
yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, binders are important. Okay, what's in your not important pile?
Flashlight.
And the
Okay, now what about y'all? Do you want to share?
Okay, so what we have in the non-book pile is a selfie stick, book cam, and sunglasses. And what we have in the good pile is like a point drive, smoke stuff, real flash, this pencil brush, binder, soap, highlighter, more glue,
Okay, perfect. Now that y'all did a really good job with that, so y'all can go ahead and just put the things back in the bag, and I'll move them off y'all's desk. So, huh?
oh, it's
Yeah, y'all can just put it back in this bag. But
usually
yeah, this is stuff from my room at home. So, yeah. So what we just did was we decided which things were important and which things weren't important. So we're gonna do the same thing today when you read a story. So sometimes it's helpful if we can figure out which details in the story are important and which details aren't important, because that can help us better understand what the story is all about, right? So at the end of this lesson, y'all are going to take a little Kahoot quiz. Have y'all done a Kahoot quiz
Yes.
before? Okay, well, cool. So we're going to do a Kahoot quiz after we read a story about, and you're going to figure out whether details from the story are important or not important. So, to help y'all with that, I'm going to give y'all this little graphic organizer. So this is why you need your pencil. So go ahead and write your name on the top. And I'm going to give y'all 3 questions that you can ask yourself to figure out whether a detail in the story is important or not important. So I'm going to go through each question with y'all, and y'all are just going to fill in the blanks. Does that make sense? Perfect. So just write your name at the top, and then you can keep this too if you want to keep it in your binder for like future reference. But if y'all think it'll help you, y'all can keep it. So the first question. The first question that you can ask yourself when you're reading a story is, what is this story mostly about? So those go in the blank. What is this story mostly about? So yeah, what is this story mostly about? That makes sense. So when you read a story, you can ask yourself, what is this story mostly about? And so that's also like the main idea of the story. What's the main idea? And the details that kind of go along with the main idea of the story are going to be important. Details that don't really go along with the main idea are just kind of extra, kind of unrelated details. So think about it this way, if you're trying to retell the story to a friend, like if you read a book and you want to tell your friend what the story is about, you're only going to share with them the most important details, right? So any extra unrelated details you probably won't include in the story, right? Okay, so the second question is, what details must be included in the story to affect the outcome? So what details must be included in the story to affect the outcome? So the blanks are details of the outcome. Who knows what the outcome of the story means? What is outcome? Any guesses, Chris? Yeah, it's kind of the effect of the story or like the ending of the story. So what details in the story affect the ending of it? So if you are trying to decide whether a detail is important or not important, you can think about it this way. If you take out that detail and it's no longer in the story, will the end of the story be the same? Or will it completely change the ending? And I'm going to read y'all a book and I'm going to show y'all how to use these questions to pull out important details. So it may make more sense then. But if I take out the detail, will it change the ending of the story? Or if I take out the detail and the story within the same, then it may not be as important as the detail. Does that make sense? Okay, and then the last question is, what point is the author trying to make? What point is the author trying to make? So what point is the author trying to make? So that can also, have y'all heard of the phrase moral of the story? Like if someone says that the moral of the story is this, that's kind of like what the story, like the purpose of the story. So sometimes books are written, or like stories are written by an author to make a point, or like they're written for a certain reason. So they may be teaching you a lesson, right? So if the story has a moral or like a lesson that the author wants you to learn, then any details that help the author make that point are going to be important, and then details that don't help the author make that point aren't going to be as important. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I'm going to read y'all a book. Oh, I think it's still in my backpack, and I'm going to show y'all how you can use these 3 questions to figure out which details are important. So I know y'all are in 6th grade.